This day, outstanding young coach John Madden must have pondered the preceding 14 weeks. He well remembered the experts' predictions that 1969 would be the biggest challenge the Raiders ever faced. He remembered the injuries and the weeks of strain and struggle that began against the same Houston Oilers. Opening day was a beautiful combination of sunshine and spirit. The Oilers were not impressed with the Raiders. They unveiled their jack-in-the-box rookie receiver Jerry Levias, number 23, and Houston scored 10 points. But the Raiders had a master jack in safety Dave Grayson, number 45, and his interception created the first scoring opportunity of the game early in the first quarter. Behind number 70, guard Jim Harvey's key block, Charlie Smith swept for the TD. Moments later, Grayson again intercepted, and the silver and black once more threatened to score. It was no idle threat, as Gene Upshaw, number 63, led Charlie Smith into the end zone. The 14-10 advantage held until late in the game, when Houston skidded into a 17-14 lead. The Raiders needed a big play, a game breaker, and they got it from number 81, Warren Wells. It was a good, close game, one that portended things to come. The Miami Dolphins fell victim to the same thief who robbed the Oilers. Dave Grayson's interception went 76 yards. The 9-year veteran from Oregon would eventually lead the team in interceptions with a total of 8. But the underrated Dolphins came right back and scored on the individual brilliance of running back Jim Kick. With only 15 seconds left in the game, veteran George Blanda provided another big play on a 46-yard field goal, and the Raiders won again. To 33-year-old John Madden, the first 2 games of the season left no doubt concerning the task facing the Raiders. Against the Boston Patriots and their Rookie of the Year, Carl Garrett, the Raiders would again face an uphill struggle. It was in this game, under Madden's leadership, that the Raiders' pride and poise began to assert itself. A one-handed interception by linebacker Gus Otto. A crushing charge by defensive end Ike Lassiter. The meticulously designed Oakland offense then began its precision bombing of Boston's defense. From any place on the field, any play can be 6 points. It's more than just a bomb, it's controlled. It's Hewitt Dixon leaving a string of stunned defenders in his wake. Playing football for the Oakland Raiders means dedication, sacrifice, and struggle. It's yardage and touchdowns, not completion percentage. Facing the Dolphins for the second time in 3 weeks, the Raiders found themselves again needing a big play. In fact, 2. They got one from linebacker Bill Lasky, and another on Darryl LaMonica's pass to Fred Biletnikoff. Still, the end result was a frustrating 20-20 tie. Part of the challenge facing the Raiders was the overall strength of the dominant American Conference. In Denver, the Raiders faced the tough, improved Broncos. But all the King's horses couldn't stop Art Tom's number 80 from blocking a punt. And in a bitter struggle, Oakland drove to a 24-14 victory. Last of the early season Eastern rivals were the Buffalo Bills with highly touted O.J. Simpson. Any hopes Buffalo might have had for an upset were strictly out of bounds. Darryl LaMonica and tight end Billy Cannon combined for an early Oakland lead. LaMonica went on to devastate Buffalo with 6 touchdown passes in the first half and the Raiders remained undefeated during the first 5 weeks. Oakland had won a record 15 consecutive games. One more was not to be, for lurking in the shadows were the Cincinnati Bengals, led by their bright young quarterback, Greg Cook. The 31-17 defeat marked the halfway point in the season, and Oakland was suddenly in second place behind Kansas City. It was a grim setting the following week, with Oakland's great record and the 1969 season in jeopardy. The Raiders managed to settle down from the upset at the hands of the Bengals and defeated the Denver Broncos 41-10. Linebacker Chip Oliver opened the Oakland scoring. Darryl LaMonica completed 3 touchdown passes to Fred Biletnikoff, whose sure hand sealed the Broncos' fate. The Chargers then came to Oakland with a new coach. The Raiders were no kinder to the new one than they were to the old. Linebacker Dan Connors tore the ball loose and scored a stunning touchdown. When San Diego pulled ahead late in the game, LaMonica and Warren Wells again provided the big play in the 21-16 victory, and Oakland had taken a big step toward regaining first place. The San Diego series had been a real foot race, but the Raiders were victorious and turned toward the first of 4 crucial games. The Kansas City Chiefs, brooding, intense, still stinging from last year's humiliation, were the first hurdle and were favored in this game at home. They took the lead on a McVay sweep. But Oakland's defense contributed 5 interceptions. One by aggressive George Atkinson went for a touchdown. A bullet to Wells tied the score. In the second half, Dan Connors scored his 5th career touchdown by galloping 75 yards for the winning 6 points. Tackles Harry Shue and Bob Svias were the first to congratulate Connors, but the 27-24 outcome revealed the closeness of these 2 great teams. The Raiders left a soggy field in Kansas City to find a cold one in New York. Tina and Mary may love Joe Namath, but they were not the only people at Shea Stadium with at least a crush on him. Ike Lassiter, Ben Davidson, Carlton Oates, and Tom Keating knew that to win, they had to get to Namath. While Mr. Namath received visitors all day, Mr. Biletnikoff simply received. It was the same kind of game the Raiders played against the Jets in preseason and won. Charlie Smith and the ground attack were potent. But Oakland's ace remained the quick strike, LaMonica to Wells. The special teams, men like Bill Budness, Wayne Hawkins, Al Dotson, Art Shell, Dwayne Benson, Howie Williams, Drew Bowie, George Beeler, and Jackie Allen all got a shot at the world champions. Number 36, Lloyd Edwards, once stole the ball to set up a Raider touchdown. For Darryl LaMonica and the rest of the Oakland Raiders, it was a day of supreme satisfaction as they defeated the Jets 27-14. Avenging last year's championship game. Beating the world champions was a memorable experience, but Coach John Madden also remembered his only loss. 40 Oakland Raiders remembered as well. The 37-17 victory over the Bengals was a prelude to the final showdown with the Chiefs. A showdown for supremacy in the Western Conference and home field advantage in the playoffs. In Oakland for the final game, All-Pro Willie Brown received the Gorman Award as the Raiders' most inspirational player. The Chiefs, too, had inspiration. They surely got it from the only coach they have ever had, Hank Stram. John Madden, in only his first year, was put to his greatest task. It was a rugged defensive struggle. The end around, which became so prominent in the Super Bowl, was easily deciphered by Tom Keating. When stopped themselves, Raider kicking specialist Mike Eyeshide boomed 70-yarders. The special teams prevented any returns. The Raider offense was often brilliant, but could only build a 3-0 advantage going into the fourth quarter. At that point, LaMonica drove his club to the Chiefs' 8-yard line. Charlie Smith went in for the score. The Chiefs were far from finished, however, as they drove the length of the field and on fourth down scored. 5.5 minutes left. The Raiders had to play ball control. 3rd and 5, LaMonica to Cannon for 12. But passing was risky. Enter Marv Hubbard, number 39, rookie fullback. 18 precious, time-consuming yards. Hubbard again. And with time running out, Oakland was beating Kansas City at its own game. Ball control. The Raiders were Western Division champions for the 3rd straight year. To Coach of the Year, John Madden and his outstanding coaching staff, Ollie Spencer, Ton Doms, John Polanchek, Richie McCabe, Sid Hall, Dick Wood, Marv Marinovich, a job well done. The Raiders were now poised under cloudy skies to play the Oilers again, this time for the right to play in the AFL championship game. LaMonica to Biletnikoff make it 7-0 early. One play later, and George Atkinson intercepts on his own 43. On the sidelines, Warren Wells is injured. He will be replaced by young Rod Sherman, number 13.
Double window. Don't you worry about that. You just run your pattern. Okay?
The front five make it possible. 79 Shue, 76 Vias, 00 Jim Otto, 10 years an All-Pro, number 70 Harvey, 63 Upshaw, and a grateful Billy Cannon. The Raiders led 21-0 still in the first quarter, but wary of a letdown. 40 determined Raiders keep the pressure on.
Hold them down there, baby!
Rookie Marv Hubbard scores his first professional touchdown, and the Raiders have overcome every obstacle. All that remains, the Super Bowl and the World Championship. But first, they must beat the Chiefs for the third straight time. The end of a decade of dedication, the final AFL championship. In the first half, the Chiefs tried to throw over the Raider defense and run over it. Neither worked. Oakland got in scoring position on a quick strike to Wells. Behind picture blocking by Billy Cannon and Jim Harvey, Charlie Smith swept in for the score. But the Chiefs tied it just before halftime. In the third quarter, when the Chiefs were unable to move the ball in conventional ways, they began to move it in unconventional ways. From his own 2-yard line, Len Dawson threw to Otis Taylor, number 89. The controversial play netted 35 yards. Another key play, a controversial interference call against Nehemiah Wilson. The Chiefs consummated their good fortune into a touchdown and took the lead they never lost. Kansas City's front four found the heart of the Raiders' scoring machine and damaged the chief engineer. The explosive powerhouse offense that had struck the 49ers in preseason, that had beaten every team at least once, that had beaten the Chiefs 7 out of the last 8 times, was quiet. The Kansas City Chiefs made history for the American Football League by once again beating the National Football League in the Super Bowl. So after 10 years of dedication, a day of defeat curtailed the destiny of the Oakland Raiders. But nothing could blot out the years of glory. In 1963, then general manager head coach Al Davis made the commitment to excellence for the silver and black. Since then, the Raiders have become the winningest team in the American Football League, with the 3 best back-to-back seasons in the history of pro football. No team had ever won 12 games or more, 3 years in a row, not even twice in a row. The Raiders also led the AFL in total offense and scoring for the 3rd straight year. 1970 begins a new decade. The years ahead will be the most exciting chapters in their history. The new realignment and the new schedule make the challenge for the Oakland Raiders the greatest it has ever faced. For the true test of a great organization is how long its success can endure. For those of us who love the Raiders in this great community, this indeed will be a decade of destiny. For now the challenge will not only be the American Conference, but the National Conference as well.